Melbourne have been struggling, particularly on the defensive end. So when it comes to the Sportsbet same game multi, we're putting the total points over. This is going to be a high-scoring game of basketball because we've got scorers all over the floor. Chris Goulding, hopefully he can get hot from downtown. Jalen Adams has been on fire. And Xavier Cooks, 8 rebounds, hopefully some of those on the offensive glass. A few putbacks will help that total. Enjoy the game. The Kings and Melbourne United.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
2 on the clock! 14 points, 4 boards for Jesse Wagstaff in an excellent category. Comes up to 39. Kings have had enough.
Take your game from the local court to the big time. Step onto an NBL court after the final buzzer. Backing local ballers is just the beginning.
Yeah, big thanks to Bunnings for helping to inspire the next generation of NBL stars all season long through the Bunnings Backing Ballers program. With 2 of the great coaches going head-to-head tonight, Brian Goorjian celebrating 850 games in the NBL, 825 of those as coach, while Dean Vickerman, his resume isn't too shabby either. Guys, if you had to be one of these people in the locker room, what's on your whiteboard?
Hey, the Kings, they got to push the ball, push it even more, attack the offensive glass, and I don't mean take Chris Goulding out. I mean take Chris Goulding out, all caps, Brad.
Well, it's simple for me. Number 1, get Chris Goulding more shots. That's what I'm going to go for. But also, you have to make sure, keep the ball out of Jalen's hands late in the clock and good defensive transition.
Cannot wait for this one. It's second versus third. The Kings and United.
Sydney have not led since the back end of the first quarter. For the first time in the afternoon, it's Melbourne who are forced to come up with some answers. Sydney with a chance to tie it up, this trick down the floor.
Oh,
and
wow.
That's exactly what they do. A stunning second half fight back from the Kings. Jack White does it again.
Better get it over halfway.
That's an 8-second violation.
Yes. What are you? It's an 8-second violation. He was talking to Brian Goorjian.
Cooks with ball in hand. Bruce for the win. Can't score. Tui can't come up with it.
Is that the right play?
The final chapter in the story. Liafa from the corner. Game over. No time remaining. Dean Vickerman breathes an enormous sigh of relief.
The nightly NBL rolls on as we build a bridge from round 15 to round 16 of Hungry Jack's Hoops. It's the Sydney Kings hosting Melbourne United. Kings fans hope their players are timing their run to perfection. After back-to-back wins, United arrive at Kudos Bank Arena having lost 5 of their last 6. It's Melbourne's first loss or first trip to Sydney this campaign. They line up at the top end of the ladder. The Mitsubishi Motors ladder shows Sydney in third, Melbourne in second. The winner tonight is second. The loser slides to fourth, meaning Perth go third by sitting on their lounge chair and nothing tonight more. A lot to play for.
And there certainly is, and these two teams expected to be in the championship series coming into this season. Things haven't quite gone to plan exactly as they would have anticipated, but nevertheless, Brad, they're right here in very strong positions, making this game a big occasion.
It's huge for both teams. You don't want to fall down that ladder. You want to keep winning, and really, first and second spot is what you want to guarantee. Tonight, it starts for one of those teams.
The Sydney Kings, coached by Brian Goorjian, as Joe has mentioned, game 850 involved in the NBL, 24 as a coach, a lazy 826 as a coach across 25 seasons. It's quite a record. He hopes the back end of this season, with 7 games to go and plenty of home hoops for the Kings, is the magic ticket towards a top 2 finish, Brad.
Well, they've been very lucky that they've set themselves up well. They haven't played outstanding basketball, and there's been a lot of ups and downs for the club. But you look at the way they're sitting in that third spot, and they win tonight, then they go to second. They are in the perfect position. The season is in their hands now. It's up to them.
They were going to strengthen their backcourt with Lamonte Turner, his contract torn up for physical reasons, some shortcomings on that front. Derek, what does it mean for that man? Jalen Adams, and as an offshoot to Sean Bruce and Isaiah Liafa as well.
Well, Sean Bruce and Isaiah Leapas, they have to raise up when their moment comes. But this guy right here, Jalen Adams, over the past 3 games, look at his numbers, 31 a game. And over the last 11, Brad, he's been one of the best players in the competition. The Kings are solid defensively with him on the floor, but offensively, they are much stronger due to his impact. And we know he has now been labeled Mr. Fourth Quarter for his exploits this season. Brad, one of the best players in the competition, has a chance on a big stage tonight.
Well, the challenge now is that the talk was sometimes he can over-dribble it, and that's what they wanted to bring that import in for. Well, now he's going to, because that was going to put him to the 2 spot. Now they need that out of Sean Bruce. They need that out of Leatha to be able to get that happening, and I'm sure they'll try it tonight.
We've got some good numbers on Jalen Adams to come during the game. This man, Dean Vickerman, coaching game 350. He'll need all of that experience because look at the line there. He's lost 5 of the last 6. They desperately need to find the form they found at the start of the season, and Chris Golding could be the man to help them do that, Brad. We know they've got a lot of road basketball still to come.
Playing outstanding basketball before the FIBA break, and then the injury, and it was just a little bit of a hiccup. I think it is a little bit of fool's gold. I think they've played some outstanding games against other players, but other teams, but those teams are playing really well. This man, to me, is who needs to get going. There were times there that that 46-point game, he had 21 threes, and Dellavedova had 0 but 12 assists, Derek. That's what I think they need to get back to. Get this man the ball.
Yeah, and let him become a focal point of the offense. He's not just a scorer, even though he's one of the best we've ever seen. He can make plays for his teammates. He spreads the floor with gravity, but Chris Golding must be assisted by good scoring off the bench by Ian Clark just to take the pressure off of him at times.
The Sydney Kings starting 5 is the same as it's been for the last couple of games. We know Jalen Galloway's out to a season-ending injury. Kelly Leaupepe for the regular season. Lamonte Turner sent home, so it's Adams, Bruce, Cam Oliver, who's had a good couple of games against Melbourne, Xavier Cooks and Alex Tui. The first 5 for Brian Goorjian. When it comes to Melbourne United, a change. Rob Lowe is in. Marcus Lee goes back to the bench, so Lowe starts alongside Dellavedova, Golding, Shea Illy and Jack White. Milestones for both our coaches. Game 350, Dean Vickerman, 850. Brian Goorjian. They're trying to break the 12,000 mark in attendance at Kudos Bank Arena this season. We might go close tonight because this is a heavyweight bout. Sydney against Melbourne. An old rivalry rolls on across many codes and especially hoops in the Harbour City. Enjoy this, everybody. It's second against third. The winner tonight, second. The loser sliding to 4th. Melbourne made a habit of scoring the first points, but not on that possession. They get it back and can go over again. It was Shea Illy showing all his determination. There's been a trademark of his career. Dellavedova was looking for Jack White. Instead, they forced the foul on Sean Bruce.
And Sydney already give up an offensive rebound to United. Sydney, one of the poorer defensive rebounding teams in the competition. We'll need to keep an eye on that one, Brad.
Golding slipped a little, but continued on with his run. Now kicking it out for Dellavedova. The behind-the-back pass finds Golding, and Golding makes sure Melbourne score first for a 6th game in a row. Opening the scoring hasn't been a problem. Finishing in front of the scoring has been.
Exactly what United want. Get Chris Golding that shot, and he has a nice look. Probably could have taken a couple of extras there at one stage, but knocked it down. Great set.
Alex Tui having a fine season. Off a quieter game, but hoping to bounce back against Melbourne as Illy gets busy downhill, goes off the glass for 2 more.
Great push and transition from Shea Illy. He's someone who's been a bit down also during this United poor form, but we know what type of player he is, and that's a great start for Illy.
Scoring points hasn't necessarily been the problem for Melbourne. Stopping them has, and they let Alex Tui get close enough for a little scoop finger roll. Dellavedova now loses the ball. Sean Bruce draws the foul, and it's called on Jack White.
And it'll be interesting to see what pace this game is played at. United show early signs of wanting to push it. They're number 2 in the competition. in terms of pace, Brad, and will they be willing to play at that tempo throughout the course of 4 quarters as Adams starts to get the work?
Cameron Adams finds Cam Oliver, and then Shea Illy, not for the first time tonight, gets his hand in the road and frustrates Sydney. It was his early work that earned a repeat possession. Chris Golding's first bucket. Delavadova with the bounce pass for Jack White.
Well, the two players you have been worried about if you're the Sydney Kings is Jack White getting going and Chris Golding. And both of these have had good looks. Jack White has been brilliant when he's been playing the Kings as Sean Bruce gets a layup. And the 2 games that they've lost against Melbourne, he has been huge, especially hitting some corner threes, Derek.
This man, Jack White, 3 more for Jack. He led the league for so long in double-doubles with 10. Over recent weeks, Xavier Cooks has gone past him with 11. I'm looking forward to their battle tonight. The 2 men on top of the league in terms of their season double-double hauls. Tui couldn't even get a shot up, such was Melbourne's defence. Delavadova dining out on that as he gets underneath Cooks, and then Cooks is called for the foul.
Well, that's 3 possessions in a row. The Kings have gone into the block and tried to back someone down. Tui was the first. Cam Oliver was the second. And then you have the last one there, and you'll just see this is a foul.
That looked clean.
No, they're not going to challenge it. But Derek, I'm just saying, as Delavadova shooting these free throws here, sometimes you can just look for something that's not there. Now, they're obviously thinking they've got the height advantage with Illy and Delavadova. They're good defenders. Let the ball get through the hands and don't worry about posting up and stopping everyone else moving off the ball.
And Melbourne United is really doing a good job of pushing that ball at pace and looking to get paint touches and creating out of that, or trying to attack the rim. And even though Delavadova was fortunate there with the call, the intent was correct. Put pressure on the Kings defense.
Another near turnover from Sydney. And referee Chris Reid points Sydney's way. They hold possession. Joe, down to you. You've been listening to United.
Yeah, well, speaking of turnovers, and Matty, a big focus for United tonight is holding on to the ball. They gave up 22 points from turnovers in their last game against the 36ers. Chris Golding said in the press conference afterwards they were quite simply fueling their fire. So they've got an early one here, but you can expect them to be much more diligent when it comes to holding on to the rock tonight.
So despite that score, Melbourne have the early jump, Joe, 12-6. The visitors trying to go out by 9 with that shot from Illy that's off the mark. Both these teams 13 and 9, Derek. But on the road, Melbourne have been better than good. They're 6-2 away from John Cain Arena, beaten only by Tasmania and Adelaide as the away team. Sydney at home, 5 wins, 4 losses.
And Melbourne looked sharp on the offensive end. And this is nothing that we haven't seen before from the Kings as Golding raises up and knocks down a 3-ball. Sydney have gotten off to slow defensive starts, and it's no different. Melbourne United with a 9-point lead halfway through this first.
Ominous signs for Sydney with Chris Golding making both of his first perimeter shots. Xavier Cooks, it's not his range normally, and he comes away with a miss. Chris Golding has made at least 3 threes in his last 7 games.
The pace is too much right now, Brad.
It is.
They're pushing it right down Sydney's throat. The intent is obvious. Be aggressive as possible on the dribble penetration.
Well, the thing I always notice is, and there's a foul's called, and are they going to count that?
What?
It's on the dribble. It's on the dribble.
I don't agree.
43. Push. Cancel basket.
So Chris Golding called for the foul. The debate is, should the shot have counted?
Well, he's saying it was on the dribble. But I love the way Melbourne are defending this. It is quality defense right now. We'll see the replay here.
He picks it up. Brad?
Yeah, look, I missed that. It's obviously on Delavadova pushing Cooks, but I couldn't get the timing.
Golding looking for his 3rd triple of the game. Put back by Marcus Lee. Welcome to the contest, Marcus. What an entry. A statement start by Marcus Lee and Melbourne United, who lead Sydney 17-6.
You look at the Amy replay. It's been this early offense from Melbourne United that's generated this lead. This tangerine timeout, Brian Gorge has got to figure out a way to slow that unit down right there because they've come out humming.
We spoke about the matchup between Jack White and Xavier Cooks, their double-double haul. Well, let's take a listen to one of them.
You see some of the matchups out there tonight. Xavier Cooks, for example, you guys know each other really well. How are you approaching this one?
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of the league. I mean, kind of everyone knows everyone, and a lot of guys have been teammates with other guys in the past, and there's a lot of talent going around. And with me and Xavier, it's always fun going up against him. He's obviously one of the best players in the league, and he's having a great year. And, you know, just as always, there's the other matchups as well. We're going to have our hands full and trying to shut him down, trying to stop him in transition off the boards, and him just making plays for his teammates. But yeah, a number of guys for the Kings are playing at a really high level right now, so we're going to have our hands full.
There are matchups all over the floor in this one. Derek, where does White on Cooks rank for you?
Well, these are two of the premier foremen in the competition. Different styles of games, but both very impactful. And I think while they haven't been great this season, they've both been good enough. But now is the time where they have to approach greatness with their individual performances.
Just back to Marcus Lee's highlight a moment ago, Brad. He has been starting. He's moved back to the bench, and off the bench he produces that. Dean Vickerman, take note.
Well, I was saying here, I love the way they're defending it. And here goes Jalen Adams. Felt like he got hit here, but the defensive intensity by Melbourne United is right up in here.
Bull Quoll can't bury it. The offensive board and put back from Xavier Cooks. Big play from Xavier.
Get out game, warning.
That's exactly why I didn't call the foul, eh?
And Brian Gorge may have a point, not feeling like his team is getting a good whistle at the moment. I tend to agree.
Some sounds of the game there as Gorge interacted with the referees. Chris Reed, Nico Fernandez, James Boyer. Another rebound for Cooks. And Isaiah Leafa is out there for Sydney. Cooks off the glass with no joy. Pulled up a little proppy. He's back in defence now. Adams appealed for the foul. Didn't get it. Dellavedova to White to Golding. 3 more from CG43.
The ball movement is sharp by Melbourne United. You can see this team, Brad, has come out with a totally different mindset. They're sharp, they're intense, they're ready to play.
Sydney need a score. And Adams' pass for Cooks was retrieved by Dellavedova.
10.
Well, this has just been a Melbourne United team that is ready to go, Ruck. You just mentioned it right there. They've come out, they're extremely aggressive on the defensive end and pushing Kings out of whatever they're trying to do.
A second personal on Xavier Cooks, Derek.
Well, that's going to put a lot of pressure on Brian Gorge now. He's got to change this lineup. They're going small ball. And look for them to try and speed this tempo up. But the danger is Melbourne United are playing very well at a high pace.
Kyle Bowen out there for Melbourne on the end of that Dellavedova pass. Delly tries to get around Noy, who turns him around, and the shot jumps out. So still on 8 points, Sydney. And it won't change on that possession. Their scorers Cooks with 4, Tui and Bruce with 2 each.
And Sydney's looks have been pretty good.
Yeah.
They just haven't been able to put the ball in the basket. Very similar to the last game we saw them play here.
Marcus Lee again. The assist from Matthew Dellavedova. The dime-dropping Dellavedova, who's done it in the States, who's doing it in Australia. What a pleasure, what a treat to watch Matthew Dellavedova deliver like that.
Well, that was brilliant offense. And you look here, you just wait. Golding will come up to set the screen here. But because they're so worried about Chris de Flair, they were able to get the lob there. You didn't see it on the replay, but again, great basketball by Melbourne United. Right now, go to Golding, look for the foul that Bull Quoll could do.
And again, Marcus Lee comes away with a profit on that possession. This is a bit like Adelaide starting against Sydney not too long ago. Adelaide came out with the baseball bats. Noi is happy to take on that battle.
Big hit there.
26-11 looks a whole lot more respectable than 26 single figure. There's still much work to do for the Kings to get back into this one. Shea Illy bouncing around and dropping two casually. Noi again stripped of the ball. Turnovers already, 5 on Sydney in the first quarter. Oh! Ian Clark. His shot jumps out. Bowen, offensive rebounds. Now Clark again. Significantly off the mark.
I don't have a problem with him missing like that. You want to get this guy going. It's good that he's getting looks. A couple of layups have rolled out. The three won't drop. But trust me, he keeps getting these, Derek, they're going to drop.
Kings' lowest first quarter, in fact, their lowest quarter of the season is 12 points. There's Guatnoi getting them to 13. So they go past their season low, and he's off to the line for one more.
And we've seen Guatnoi provide this type of punch for the Sydney Kings off that bench. And they desperately need it right now. Down 15, and Melbourne United just made wholesale changes, bringing 4 guys into the game. Mass substitution.
Guatnoi averaging 19 minutes per game, 12.5 points per game, but he has hit 20 points plus in 3 of his last 5 outings. So not only is he bringing energy and effect off the bench, he has been piling on some scores. Crucial roll as Lowe gets free, down low. That will count.
That's a good call. And Sydney are struggling with the back screen that Melbourne United are setting for the bigs. And that's 3 or 4 plays now where they've got a good look out of the grab.
Derek, you identified Melbourne's defensive struggles and the need to improve in that regard, given they've coughed up 100 points plus 4 times over the last 6 games. What are they doing better here against Sydney?
The intensity
to 14.
The intensity is where Dean Vickerman wants it, and so much of defensive success is based off of effort.
Isaiah Le'afa elevating and scoring comfortably.
And sometimes as a result of that extra effort, you can beat them on plays like that, a backdoor cut, because the focus has been on being up and in, crowding your man, jamming your man.
Final minute, first quarter. And a foul called on Sydney. And it's Guatnoi, the man identified by Chris Reid. His first for the game.
Well, I was just watching Dean Vickerman. Of course, we said that man right there, 350 games, and he just ripped in to Cameron. He was not happy about something, and he's just ripped into him, but then slapped him and said, well done, let's go back and get the next one.
And this run that Melbourne United have been on where they haven't performed well defensively, it's almost like an average offensive basketball team being on a run where they shoot the lights out. You know at some point it's going to correct itself and regress to the mean. Melbourne United are too talented, they have too many good athletes, and their coach is brilliant. There's no way this poor defensive run can continue.
Their last loss against Adelaide, their defensive struggles were compounded by a poor shooting clip, 37 from the field, 32 from the land of plenty, 67 from the free throw line. But today, 60% from the field, nearly 60% from outside, and 100% their 4 trips to the line. So they've improved in many areas, and it's reflected on the scoreboard at 32-16. Final seconds, first quarter. Lowe drives and comes away empty. Dean Vickerman animated to finish the first quarter, despite the fact his team has outscored Sydney 2-1. If they needed an indication of what was to come in the first quarter, it was the entry of Marcus Lee and his slam. Can United go on with it? Is there a Kings comeback? Second quarter next.
It's 4 boards for Jesse Wagstaff and an excellent catch. Cottons up to 39. Kings have had enough.
Take your game from the local court to the big time. Step onto an NBL court after the final buzzer. Backing local ballers is just the beginning.
Hungry Jacks NBL, we start round 16 tonight in Sydney where the Kings are down by 16 and now Shea Illy misses a golden chance to make it 18 as he also slips some moisture at the southern end of the floor. But Derek, as we take stock of the first quarter, you couldn't help but be reminded of a game here 2 games back for the Kings against Southeast Melbourne.
And at the end of the first quarter in that game, the Kings were down 36-18, if I'm not mistaken. They were down early, and Jalen Adams was struggling. Well, we've got a facsimile here tonight. The only difference is, with all due respect to Southeast Melbourne, they haven't been humiliated like Melbourne United have over the past few weeks. They haven't had to deal with the constant scrutiny in the media. This is an angry basketball team coming in here ready to prove a point.
So Illy gets the 2 the unintended way at the stripe to make it 34-16. If you've joined us late, Melbourne had lost 5 of their last 6 coming into this game, giving up big scores along the way. Under pressure to stay in the top 2. And they've blown Sydney away early. It's only Kwatnoi keeping the scoreline respectable. He goes to 9 points for the game. Behind him, Xavier Cooks with 4. No other King has more than 2. Jalen Adams, Cam Oliver stuck on 0. Shea Illy again. This time the reverse finish.
Well, they've got to get some stops. It's as simple as that. Melbourne are doing whatever they want at any time. Their offense looks great. They're able to move the ball. Of course, Chris Goulding started it with all his threes, but this man, how many times can he just keep doing it? He is keeping this team afloat at the moment. 4 of 4 from the field, 3 of 3 from the three-point line, 12 points, and he's not happy, Dean Vickerman. He's going to pull someone out for not doing the defense, and White will be checking back in.
So Noi leads all scorers for Melbourne at Shea Illy out in front with 10. He's 3 of 4 shooting. Ian Clark, he gets his first points for the contest. 0 of 4 becomes 1 of 5 for the American. 38-22. And it's Melbourne ball.
And look at the Amy replay. Kwatnoi just relocating his defender. Just doesn't stay connected, Brad. You can't afford to do that because you know Noi has one purpose out there, and it's to fill it up.
Well, Dean Vickerman knew it as well, and he's pulled out straight away. Bowen not happy with him and had a message with him as he went through.
Joe, over to you. What are you hearing?
Yeah, Brian Goorjian has been asking the question of his troops, guys. He says, what are we doing? Anything that includes work we are lacking in right now. Getting back, rebounding, showing hands. He is urging his troops not to give Melbourne anything easy here.
Let's see if they can apply what their coach is saying. Jalen Adams, the 2 will count. He'll go to the line. It's a potential 3-point play.
Well, as I mentioned at the beginning of this quarter, this Melbourne United team is a different level than Southeast Melbourne with their championship aspirations and what they've been through as a unit. So it's going to take something special from the Kings now to dig deep, but it's got to start with this man right here, Jalen Adams. We've seen his 4th quarter exploits, but he needs to get into this game now. And Xavier Cooks has a mismatch with Rob Lowe or Marcus Lee on him when he has the ball out on the perimeter. He just hasn't been able to finish, been a bit fumbly with the basketball.
Very true. Jalen Adams on a run of 11 games with double-figure scores across those 11 games. He's averaging 23 per outing. The career high 41, not too far on the rearview mirror. So he comes into this one in good scoring form, but again has been slow to start. Ian Clark fights for the ball and can't retrieve it for Melbourne.
Well, that was good defense. They rolled it in and they wanted Lee to be able to try and take advantage of a smaller Cooks, but Cooks held his ground, was able to miss it. Now's the key. You've got Jalen off the ball. Try and get it into some hands, Tui coming off it, then get it to Jalen and let him finish.
Adams for Cooks, who drops it off for Alex Tui. 3 for Tui. Double figures for Alex in 6 of his last 8 games, the best stretch of his young NBL career. He's up to 5 in this one. Arthur couldn't get to 2 that time. So turnover still a problem, 7-1 against the home team, 7-1. Again, it's Dellavedova providing he thought for more points for Melbourne. United wanted goaltending, the call didn't come.
See right there, Matty, Cooks can't lose his aggression. He must attack Marcus Lee right there. Again, this may lead to something positive, but it doesn't look like Cooks exactly being positive.
Yeah. Xavier Cooks already has 7 rebounds for the game. Ian Clark likes to look at that. It's hard off the back of the rim. So 10 the difference. And yet another turnover, the 8th of the game against the Kings, and now Cooks is called for his 3rd foul.
Wow. Careless with the basketball.
That's the warning. Doesn't matter.
And you rarely see Xavier Cooks make that level of mistake.
Well, that level of mistake, and then compounded it with fouling. Like, I understand sometimes you want to say to yourself, give up the layup, but in that time, I mean, so you want to send him into the free throw line. In that instance, I'm happy to give up that layup so that man's not sitting on the bench.
Other side, does it have an effect at the time?
So Dean Vickerman informed that the bench has been given a warning.
Well, I think it was the possession before where they went up. I think Clark missed the layup and they felt it hit the rim or the net, and the whole bench stood up. So that's what the warning was for. But Cooks has got to forget about that. You can see he's upset on the bench, but we won't see him again this half. You would think, well, not with 3 fouls, you can't chance that.
I agree, and a vital period now for the Kings.
Melbourne's biggest lead of the game was 18 in the first quarter. They extended that slightly to open the second. The Kings got it back to 10 a moment ago. And then Oliver looking for Adams. They deliver the 9th turnover of the game. Marcus Lee is called for the foul.
And the Kings have given up 6 offensive rebounds and committed 9 turnovers, Brad. Wow. So, you know,
they're lucky to be in this game as close as they are. Yeah. Another timeout here by Brian Gordon.
Worth reminding everyone that this is the 3rd meeting between Sydney and Melbourne. United winning the first 2. The opening contest back December 1 by 3 points. In fact, before that, October 31 by 4. So a couple of narrow victories, but wins nevertheless for Melbourne. What does Brian Gordon have to say here?
77, 72. Look after the ball. Are we going to play? They're denying. Back cut. Handoff. Spread the floor. Look after the ball. Rebound. We're in delay. They're face guarding. Back cut. Handoff. Dribble penetration. Second side. Look after the ball. Now, ours here, first possession, C5, C4. You pick, you come out Ram, you pick the ball. So Ram, C5. You pick, you go. First possession.
Well, right there, it's just a basic huddle about basketball concepts. Nothing specific until the very end, Brad. Just macro ideals of basketball. Don't turn it over. Look after it. Be aggressive. It's not that hard, but the Kings are making it very difficult for themselves the way they are approaching this basketball game.
We always talk about basketball as a simple game, and it is, and it's the simple things that they're doing wrong. Careless turnovers, offensive rebounds. But this man can put the ball in the hole. That'll be counted as it's touched. And he did a fantastic job last week Malawatch of getting on the defensive side, so he will pick that up as well.
Malawatch, just back to that timeout. Crooked fingers, popping veins, clear, concise enthusiasm to the instructions. For 826 NBL games as a coach, we've loved Brian Goorjian's timeouts. There's the latest of them, as Melbourne score to make it 42-30.
Well, they run their pet play as Adams is fouled. Melbourne United, after a timeout, run their pet lob play and catch the Kings not focused on the scout.
Well, we watch Adams here. He is just so tough, Derek. I haven't seen many players that's able to handle the ball like he does on that on-ball, create contact, and then able to still get off a shot. And a lot of times able to make it as well.
With Jalen Adams at the line here, I'll go back to Sydney's most recent win against Brisbane. They made only 11 attempts at 3, hit 5 of them, so 5 of 11. That from the team that averages 30 per game when it comes to threes. Was that a conscious decision, just the surround or circumstances of the game? Why only 11 threes from the Kings against Brisbane? And will they look to do something similar here at 4 of 8 so far?
Well, they haven't been shooting it particularly well from the 3 this season, so perhaps it was a conscious decision. But also, I think the way the game was being played, as White misses one at the rim, I think the way the game was being played, that was really a drag-out affair. Oh, man, they are out of whack on that end of the floor.
We'll take nothing away from Lee here. That was outstanding defense.
He's a great defender.
He did. Obviously, Jalen Adams wanted him to make the commitment so that he could pass, but he jab stepped. You just watch him under here. He knows exactly what's going on. Dellavedova gets hit, and he's like, yep, hands there, so big, so long. And doesn't he know it as well? That was a great defensive play.
You asked a pertinent question pre-game, Brad. The Sydney Kings have spent the last few days thinking they're getting Lamonte Turner into the rotation. They're mentally prepared for that. Then today, bang, he's gone. You wonder whether part of the performance so far is the last-minute adjustment to what they thought they were going to have tonight.
Look, you'd like to think not, because they're professionals and they've got to come out and do their job. But it's always playing in the back of your mind.
42-31. Into the back half of the second quarter we go. Chris Golding from a long way outside. Lowe, the offensive rebound and score. Rob Lowe with his second field goal of the game to go to 4 points.
Well, they can't stop this on ball at the top.
Cam Oliver was looking for his opening score of the game in spectacular fashion. He lost the ball, and to rub it in, Jack White gets to the rim at the other end.
Tough passage of play for the Kings. And Melbourne United extend that lead out to 15.
This man still yet to score, having been held scoreless twice this season. Here he is in his range. Cam Oliver gets his own rebounds. Fakes one way, back the other, still can't get it to go.
Well, he knows he's coming out of the game. Spurgeon's sitting there at half court. I can only assume that he's coming in for him, and he would have seen over there and known it's the defensive of the assignment like this that Goorjian is extremely disappointed. Cam Oliver was nowhere. Do you come up and you double that? Do you switch back? The communication really struggling for the Sydney Kings at the moment.
The leading assist provider in the league, Matthew Dellavedova, has 6 for the game, and now Cam Oliver has his first points for the game. 1 of 5. Oliver had 4 single-figure games, including a 0, but since that second scoreless outing, he shot 5 of 8 and 6 of 9. So his last couple of games are back to what we expect from Cam Oliver, but it's been another slow start here for him.
It has, and perhaps this free throw will give him some type of consolation, because he'll, as Brad mentioned before, be going to the bench if it's successful.
He's been good in both games against Melbourne, Cam Oliver. You're right, he's off to the bench. He's had 18 points, 16 rebounds in their first meeting, 21 points and 6 boards in their second. So very, very tidy numbers.
Well, watch here for Rob Lowe if they get into their set where they're able to set the screen here and then roll.
Golding thought about it first time around, but went through Illy. Now it's Chris Golding, missing.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Jack White back in the contest, because I'm not sure there's anybody on the Kings that can guard him, as Adams does a great job with his pivoting to draw that foul. But Jack White's off to a really good start. 5 of 8 from the field, 13 points, 5 rebounds. He's been a bit quiet lately.
Could Flynn Cameron have done anything else there? He seemed to be doing a great job.
Stay on the ground.
On Jalen Adams.
That's all, you just got to stay on the ground. Jalen shot 3 free throws already with another 2 to come. From memory, against Phoenix last week, he made 17 free throws, so he is able to get himself to the free throw line, and it stops the clock, stops momentum for Melbourne United, so it's some crucial time here for the Sydney Kings. Derek, you always talk about finishing quarters hard, and that's where games are so won and lost.
Cameron picks up his second personal. Marcus Lee with 2 as well for Melbourne. Xavier Cook sitting with 3 for Sydney. Adams gets the ball back and finishes. Working his way into the game now, Jalen Adams. Melbourne beware. Up to 7 points. The crowd making a little more noise. The difference back to 11. Dellavedova to Rob Lowe, who has a nice touch from outside and reminds us again.
Good basketball there from Melbourne United. I thought Spurgeon did a really good job of staying in front of the ball. The rotation maybe could have been a little bit quicker, but good shot.
Got to keep reminding myself, Rob Lowe dragged out of retirement by Melbourne, and what about his provision for them? Outstanding. Fresh from an equal career high 12 rebounds in that loss to Adelaide. Really tough shot, misses. And it stays with Melbourne. So United have 51 on the board with the best part of 2 minutes to play in the first half still.
Yeah, on 45% shooting. They've got 8 offensive rebounds. That's not even cast as an offensive rebound, so it's really 9 when you look at that. 12 assists, only 1 turnover with 9 steals.
Low again for back-to-back triples. This time he catches the front of the rim. Illy was there looking for the putback. Instead, he draws the foul.
And good hustle there from Shea Illy. He's on the weak side when the shot is taken. Catches Adams sleeping. No box out. And Illy is just too determined and athletic to fall asleep on him.
There's certain players and as point guards, you know you've got to box out. I always remember with Darryl McDonald. Every time you've got to box him out. If you're guarding Derek Rucker, it's fine. He doesn't go inside the 3-point line.
Sometimes.
But when you're only for a layup. But you've got to, as guards, it's an absolute killer when that opposition guard comes in and gets the offensive rebound.
And Shea Illy making his presence felt. Going for point number 12 in this first half. He's a plus 11. 4 boards, steal, just doing the type of stuff that makes him such a prized point guard in the NBL.
Well, Derek, on the court, he's plus 131 for Melbourne. Off the court, they're minus 78.
He's important.
The multiple World Cup tall black as Sean Bruce slips. And he forces the blocking foul on Melbourne. But just back to Shea Illy, he's the reigning New Zealand Player of the Year, multiple World Cups. You mentioned the numbers. He's averaging 10 points per game. He's beaten that in the first half.
Yeah, and earlier in the season, I thought he was a lock for Defensive Player of the Year. Over the past 3 to 4 rounds, we know Melbourne United haven't performed at the level that was expected on that end, but there's time left. And Shea Illy, he is a very, very dogged basketball player.
That's a great word, dogged.
It is.
Sums him up.
One of the things that I think he's got better over the last few years is filling in that gap of whatever this team needs for the win. If it's points, I'll do that. If it's rebounding, I'll go get this up. If it's give me that defender, I don't care if he's the 5-man, I'll do it. And if the ball's on the floor, leave it to me, I'll go get it.
Bruce makes both for his 3rd and 4th points of the game. Sydney 7 of 9 at the line. Illy again. Getting rid of Bruce. Dellavedova left alone. Releases the 3. Can't hit it. United by 14. They've controlled. They've owned this first half. They're trying to go 3-0 against the Kings in NBL 25. Kwatnoi, a bright spot for the Kings in this first half. He draws the foul. It'll be called on Shea Illy.
Well, you talk about a job of an assistant coach. I don't know if you could hear them yelling out there, 55. This coaching staff knew exactly what the Sydney Kings were going to run there, and that was for that man to get a 3. But they were able to switch. A foul, soft or right, but what I'm saying is this team is locked in tonight, Derek. They know exactly what they've come with the game plan, and they've performed it beautifully so far.
Xavier Cook's forced to sit for much of this first half with 3 fouls. Jalen Adams has 2 as well. He's off the floor. Kwatnoi, importantly for Sydney, makes both. He leads their scoring with 14. 4 of 5 from the field, all 3 at the line.
Wow, he traveled.
No call as Golding goes back to Rob Lowe. Lowe beats them all with a hook. And a couple of defenders around him, in front of him, but scored nevertheless. And Spurgeon has the ball, jolted free. It's called Melbourne's way. Turnover number 11 for Sydney.
And that's just inexperience on the behalf of Spurgeon. That ball is loose out there on the floor. You got to go play a live ball. Don't leave it in the referee's hands to make a call.
It's attention to detail is what really is hurting the Sydney Kings. We've heard it by so many different coaches, and I think Tatum in Illawarra is the biggest one. It's those 1%ers, and, you know, for the Kings, there's so many of them. It's the 11 turnovers. It's too many offensive boards.
The Pumped by Reebok influencer seats full as usual. That's Sydney, in fact, at all NBL games, and outside those 4, we've got Rule sitting, watching and enjoying the Kings tonight. There he is, eating a chop top, one of your favourites, Bradley. As I tell you that Rule, a musician, a songwriter, singer, more than 3 billion streams globally.
I could have told you that.
3 billion.
You could have asked me that. I would have told you.
What's his favourite song?
The one he played the other day. I thought he was outstanding.
Good to have you here, Bradley. Derek, do you want to bail me out?
Notice Derek just sits here, says nothing, shaking his head. What about the interview he did last night? Can we get back to that interview?
Somebody set me up.
That was just...
Somebody set me up.
That was Yoda in the middle of 2 7'6" men. It was brilliant.
We've got Taco Fall coming to Wollongong on Saturday night against the first-placed Illawarra Hawks.
You loved it, Ruck.
Tomorrow, the Tassie Jack Jumpers in Adelaide going at it. 14 consecutive nights of NBL. Golding continues his scoring. This time a 2-point shot as he goes to 11, and right on the stroke of half-time, the mid-court heave is off the mark. It's been a fantastic first half by Melbourne. Under pressure, under the pump, underperforming, but they've come to Sydney and piled on 57 points. They lead it by 16. Chris Golding has double figures alongside Shea Illy, Jack White, Rob Lowe. Sydney cruel by 11 turnovers, and Marcus Lee giving us highlights aplenty, Joe Healy.
Yeah, that's right. He's had a great first half, as had the rest of your team, Melbourne United. You guys jumped out to a great start. What's pleased you most about the way you've been going about it?
Right now it's the communication. We're on the same page right now. We're just playing with a bunch of energy.
They're obviously a really good finishing team. What's the most important aspect to you guys pushing this out?
Right now it's just staying in front of guys and getting a good contest.
What's the message from Dino in the locker room?
He just wants to see a good energy and back to what we do best, and right now we're seeing it.
All right, good luck in the second.
Thank you.
Well, it is Melbourne United by 16 here at Kudos Bank Arena. We'll be back to break down the first half in just a moment.
It is state versus state. That's it. Victoria versus New South Wales, Sydney versus Melbourne, ladies and gentlemen. It's up to you to cheer on the teams. Cheer on Rob. Who do you have on your side? Go over, chat. I've got the New South Wales contingent, the Sydney team, ladies and gentlemen. Over here, this big fella. You are the captain. What's the game plan?
Win, obviously. We're going to pull harder than that, and we're going to take it home for the Kings.
And I like that. It's good attitude. We've got the big fella at the back. He's the anchor. He's the weight. Tahi, who you got over there? There's a big anchor at the back of yours. Now have a look at this team over here. They look very, very stacked. Look at this guy, chest and arms. Look at this guy. How many kebabs have you eaten in your lifetime?
Only 2,000. That's all right.
Did you go with the one with the white?
Of course.
You did. Okay, look at him. He's in a big fair for you. How old are you?
13.
13. Go back to your seat. Stay. All right. This guy's got a beer. Have a look. This guy's got a button. We had a chat to him earlier. Have a look at the guy with the button. He looks fresh because he hasn't had a job ever. He has not worked in his life. He's been waiting for this very, very moment so he can do something. Good luck. I love you. We've got some guys there. And look at the anchor at the back. Have a look at the anchor at the back. He's huge. You've been dreaming about him being an anchor.
Sorry?
In tug of war, this has been your dream, right?
Yeah, of course.
Anchor the Melbourne United team. Good luck, Sydney Kings fans. Melbourne United cheerleader team. Let's count them down to see what's going to happen in the second half.
And the mascots are the judges. Mate, there's no treating in this game.
All right, let's count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Cheer them on, let's go!
Not yet.
Whoa, what's happening to the anchor? What's happening? New South Wales, Sydney! The winner is Sydney! I love it.
Melbourne back to the bench.
See you later, off you guys. Sorry, the bench. The anchor's not happy. There you go. That was good. That was very good.
Big comebacks coming up, ladies and gentlemen. Huge comeback in the second half. We can do it again. We can do it again with your help. Get loud and proud. And we can bring the boys home from again. Another comeback victory. Rob, take over.
The Sydney Kings aim for a winning standard. So do we. At Host Plus, we brought home the CanStar Award for Outstanding Value Super for the 7th year in a row. That's a plus.
Yeah, welcome back to the Hungry Jacks NBL. Two of the great coaches going head-to-head tonight, and it's Dean Bickerman and Melbourne United with the upper hand over Brian Goorjian at the Kings at the moment. Brad Rosen, Derek Rucker, talk me through these halftime numbers.
Well, the one thing that's not showing there is the turnovers and the offensive rebounds. We can see what the rebounds are, but the offense have been outstanding for Melbourne United. And what I love is Chris Goulding came out and went bang, and then the whole team lifted. He is the head of that snake. And when Chris is playing like Chris is doing, Melbourne always look good.
Well, I'm going to give some love to Matthew Dellavedova and Shea Illy. They really pushed the tempo early. They were up defensively, and when they got the ball, they drove it hard, got paint touches, and that allowed Chris Goulding good looks early. Then once Chris got going, Rob Lowe got going, and it just domino affected into success for Melbourne United.
Let's take a look at the Hungry Jacks halftime highlights. You guys mentioned CG at 43. We love the way he's going about it, and he loves coming up against the Kings.
Well, they went to him early, and that's what I love. And he's been able to get 3 threes, and they were beautiful shots. And really, anything he shoots is beautiful because he's got such a nice stroke. But also the little step back here. But what I loved is there was another shot that he could have had, another 3, but he gave it up to Rob Lowe, who was right under the basket. Now, Rob Lowe hadn't been playing and had all those shots prior. I don't know if he makes that. I don't mind the misses. Keep shooting. I have no problems with that. When he is playing like that, Melbourne United look good.
Yeah, his shooting alone had set the foundation for this success. And after a few weeks off due to a calf injury, it was always going to take a bit of time for Chris to find his feet again. He truly looks like he's back to 100%.
You guys mentioned it in commentary. The Kings, they need to adhere to the KISS principle, keep it simple. But one of their stars, Quatnoy, has been carrying the team so far.
Well, thankfully for him, or they're down by a lot more. That 14 points was exactly what they need. But But what they've got to take credit is Southeast Melbourne came in here and they were up by 18 points at one stage in that game, and they gave up 60 in the first half. Melbourne United have got 57. That's what they need to be talking about, but it's got to start on the defensive end, Derek.
One of the strengths of Brian Goorjian is the ability to make in-game adjustments. We've seen him do it time and time again this season against Southeast Melbourne. As you mentioned before, they were down significantly in that game. In fact, they were down 13 going into the fourth quarter. Let's see how Sydney come out of the change room, what adjustments they make, and if they have the effort to get this done, Joe.
Well, let's look ahead to Friday night hoops as the Tasmania Jack Jumpers are taking on the Adelaide 36ers. Guys, we heard today, though, the Jackies have got a big out with Sean McDonald for the rest of the season.
Look, they're already missing Will Magnay, and that's just such a big loss for them. And Adelaide, you just don't know what team's going to come in, but they are really humming and ready for this game. You just feel so sorry for Tasmania, but never feel sorry for them because you know that's the type of team that can get up.
Scott Ross, a master tactician, he'll have his troops ready.
All right, still plenty more to come here at Kudos Bank Arena. It is Melbourne United 57 over the Kings at 41. The second half is coming up next.
Register your young baller online for the opportunity to get on the court at future games. Backing local ballers is just the beginning. Get behind Bunnings. Plenty of prizes to be won. Get the QR code to find all the Hoops Capital competitions ready to be entered. You'll find today's Play of the Month competition for December. Vote for your favorite moment, like Cam Oliver's Sky's one-handed alley-oop versus the Breakers, or Tyler Robertson shot beyond half court. Man, it's almost full court against United. Enter now to win courtside tickets to Sunday's game on the 12th of January.
There's nothing like crunching down some Pringles during your match. And we're here, we're checking in, Rob, with the Pringles Crunch Couch winners. They've been upgraded and they are excited and pumped.
They are. Tahi, this is Nicola. He's Serbian. He's crazy. But the first thing he said when he came down was, "Where's the drink?" How pumped are you? You came right from the top, so you were actually hot and tired.
I was. It was an effort, but I need to show my support for the kids.
How's the food been?
Oh, excellent. Few beers. The Pringles were just incredible. Sour, green, and onion.
What are you, a food blogger? All right,
and Jack, look, what sort of move did you do to win the upgrade? Can you show us? What'd you do? What sort of move did you do?
It's interesting.
You had the jumper. This is an idea for people like in the future weeks, if you're going to get upgraded for the Pringles Punch Couch, you need to do a move. And look at Nicola, he worked so hard, he injured his foot. Look at that, right? He can't.
Yeah, I love it.
Get up and do the moonwalk. You got to move good, you can do the moonwalk.
I like that move you did earlier. I thought you were at a Lebanese wedding, but all right, well, these guys are enjoying themselves every game, every home game. You have a chance to go on the Pringles Couch, on the couch. So there you go. Well done, the Punch Couch. So ladies and gentlemen,
let's do another prize giveaway.
Would be you soon.
Let's do another prize giveaway, Rob. It's time. It's time to do another prize. Let's do it.
All right, it is time, Tahi, to find the hardest working fan brought to you by Hardjacker, the Aussie icon that's been backing hard workers. So, we want to see some energy, passion, get up and jump, dance, cheer.
We won the championship in 1992, and there were 17,000 people at all 3 games. Incredible series, 17,000 at all those games. We were averaging 10,000 people at Rod Laver to our home game. And it was almost immediate that football came up with Oz Kick, our TV package, our newspaper. From that point, it was like there was a fist put down, slow down. You could just feel around you that there was trouble. And what the difference is now, and I keep saying, is and I felt it the most when I came back from China, and it was COVID. There was no people in the stadiums. We're staying in these, Albury Wodonga cans for 2 weeks, and the players are going, oh, how tough this is and everything. And I said, hey, when I was in this thing, if this was like this, our league would be over. It would be finished. I cannot believe what they've done and how well they orchestrated their way through that. And I go, man, there's a security around this. I feel that within this, the TV package, the way the games are presented, the organizations, the clubs, everything's stronger. And then having the opportunity to be in China, be in the Philippines, Japan, those countries around there follow the NBL, and they're constantly asking, how do you do it?
Let's go, here we go. They're ready.
I always say, Australian rules football coined, we're Australia's sport. And I used to always think, yeah, you are, but we're a world sport. We have the attention. There's just a lot of positive energy about the NBL, about being back in Sydney, about where I am in my life and what I can, what I can bring. And there's a lot of energy behind this. So again, excitement.
850 NBL games as a player and a coach, including championships at the Kings in 03, 04, 05. He's back to do it again. He hopes year one of a 3-year contract at the Kings. He's coached around Australia, around the world, internationally. The NBL has been lucky to have Brian Goorjian as a player in 84, as a coach since 88. And he'll need to delve into all that experience as the Kings try to bounce back from this 16-point deficit. Ange Postecoglou is one of the coaching colleagues who he often exchanges notes and thoughts with. Well, Ange enjoyed a big win in the League Cup semi-final against Liverpool. Can Brian Goorjian enjoy a big night by repeating what they've done in the second half often this season and coming back to win? First, they'll have to stop the likes of Matthew Dellavedova legally, not by committing fouls.
Well, that was a good first possession there from Melbourne United. They moved the ball, got into some player exchange action, and Dellavedova gets it on his right hand. We know how tough he is going right, and Adams just wasn't able to cut him off. Going to the line to shoot too.
We also thought the Kings did okay there with the switching, because Chris had been setting back screens and been able to get open on that flare, but they switched out on that, did a better job. But then that attention to detail we talk about right at the end.
And Dellavedova, while he hasn't had an impact scoring the basketball, 7 assists in the first half.
And defensively, ask LeBron James about his dogged determination in defense, and he'll tell you all about it. It was on show in the first half.
Well, it was, and when Chris had that 46-point, Delhi didn't shoot a 3, as Xavier Cooks makes that. Didn't shoot a 3, but had 12 assists. Derek, that's why he's a world-class point guard that's been doing it for so long.
I just want to repeat a couple of first half stats you spoke with Joe about at half-time. Points from turnovers, 14-0 in favour of Melbourne. Fast break points, 19-0 in favour of United. A couple of areas needing a big correction as Chris Golding cuts to the bucket, gets free, and scores with his eyes shut to make it 17 the difference. The biggest lead of the game is 18.
And the Kings are in a quandary because their two best players, Adams and Cooks, both have 3 fouls. So they're compromised on the defensive end, but yet they need them offensively to get back in this game as Noy goes to work.
And that's
Hit from behind.
Yeah, that'll be Melbourne ball. You think offensively, they've started Noy in this third quarter. He didn't start the game, and they've also brought Malawatch into the game as well. So definitely a change-up. Cam Oliver and Sean Bruce to the bench.
Golding. Don't give up, Sydney fans. 9 times your team has trailed at the half and won the second half. Now, it's going to have to be a big win in the second half, but if any team can do it, it's McWatch, Malawatch and the Sydney Kings.
Big fan. Sorry, Matty. I'm a big fan. Derek, you and I have spoken a lot about him. He's athletic. He can hit the 3, run the lanes, defend, as Delhi goes with his little runner.
The pick and roll defense is suffering. And I think they want to target Noy on that in Melbourne United.
Cooks nursing those 3 fouls as mentioned. Golden nearly stripping Malawatch of the ball. Quash leaves his shot short. Roblo for 3. No. And Noy picks it up for the Kings.
Sydney dodged a bullet right there. A rhythm 3 in transition for a very capable shooter.
Sydney second best in the league for points allowed per possession. Malawatch gets close, loses the ball. And it's off Melbourne. Yeah, they have been keeping opposition teams to 1.1 points per possession. In the first half here, Melbourne scored at 1.38 per possession, so way up on what Sydney have been restricting opposition teams to. As a result, Melbourne already have 62 on the board. And now Cooks loses the ball. Another turnover. A dirty dozen in that regard for Sydney. Illy now forces a foul on Alex Tui, and Illy goes to the line.
Well, Brad, go ahead, Brad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's interesting here, he's holding his hand, and we know hand is part of the ball. He's called over to the bench. Yep, it looks like I think they're going to have a timeout, and I think they're going to challenge this. No, they've cancelled it. Sorry, he walked over and definitely looked and said, I want a timeout, but they've changed that, and they're not going to challenge it.
Illy in significant pain. It didn't look that serious, but he's still bent over, holding his hand, trying to shake it off.
Let's hope it's only bruising and a whack, no structural damage to the hand of Shaiulu. And he's still nursing it.
Yeah, very much so.
He makes the first.
He's so tough.
Oh, Melbourne are up and up. That's not going to go well. One.
He's nailed all 7 at the line tonight. Shaiulu. He makes it a perfect 8. He's shooting the free throw at 76% this season. 100 tonight. Malawatch thought about the shot, put Bull Qual under a little pressure, and Jalen Adams likewise. It was touched by Illy, according to the referees. Shea said he didn't touch it. Tough shot. Malawatch off the glass for 2. Bull Qual. Illy sits it up for White to slam 2. It was Marcus Lee in the first half, Jack White in the second. And it adds to the pain of Sydney fans. The Amy replay. This will look good, Derek.
Well, we know Illy and Dellavedova are 2 of the best lob throwers, not only in the league, but in the world, in my opinion. And Jack White, all the athleticism required to go up. He's now got 15 points on 6 of 9 shooting. Melbourne United back to humming like a finely tuned outfit.
Brad, expand on Jack White. 6 of 9 from the field. He leads all scorers in the game with 15. 4 boards, a couple of assists so far. Great to see him back from that little break and doing it again for Melbourne United.
Well, sometimes I think we could be a little bit harsh with this guy because people are saying he hasn't, been playing as well. That's just how highly we rate him. He's been okay, but this is the Jack White we know. The guy that is athletic, up above the rim, runs the lanes well, able to hit threes in the corner and really lifts his team. And there he goes upstairs and throws that down. And when Jack White is playing like that, look, right now, the Kings just have no answer, Derek. The on-ball is absolutely destroying them. They can come off and hit the 3. They're lobbing it up. They're laying it up. They're doing whatever they want. The Kings have to change it up. Go a zone. Do something to change this up.
51 NBA games for Jack White. 2024 at Memphis, 23 at Denver. NBA highs, 7 points, 8 rebounds. Still only 27 years of age, so a young basketballer, Derek, who knows what's ahead for Jack White. Jalen Adams played for the foul, didn't get it. And it's touched by Dellavedova.
I was watching Gelly and he was like, our ball. Looking there at Cam Oliver. Hasn't seen any minutes since he was brought off there in the second quarter for not getting back on the defense and not doing this defensive assignment.
3 points for Cam Oliver. 1 of 5 shooting. Only the 2 rebounds, 2 assists. There's his stat line. Joe Healy, down to you.
Yeah, guys, we know the Kings are coming off that win over Brisbane. Offensively, they were moving the ball really well in that game, whereas it feels like tonight it's a bit more stagnant. There's more ISO plays. I just want to know, is that Melbourne's defense or is that the Kings going away from that fluid offense?
Well, that's a great question, Joe, and I think a lot of it is due to the Melbourne United intensity right from the tip. They brought it at Sydney, and you see how fumbly Sydney are with the basketball. It's like their skills were jolted out of rhythm, and they just really aren't getting quality touches. Look at this. This is what I mean, and that's what intensity does.
Here's Xavier Cooks. Again, stripped of the ball, turnover 13. Shea Ili makes them pay. Brad, you looked up Sydney's record this season for most turnovers in a game during the halftime break. 21.
21, well, the way they're heading at the moment, they're going to beat that. It's the sloppy turnovers. They're really, it's one-out basketball at the moment, but take nothing away from Melbourne United. And Coach Healy, how good was that? Listen to her on the sidelines picking it up. She's exactly right. Everything Melbourne are doing defensively is pushing the Kings 1 and 2 feet outside the three-point line.
But it points also, they have 4 veteran guards who feel as if they have been embarrassed. And if you have pride, which all of those guys have, they're going to respond. They're going to respond to the challenge, and we're seeing it in its ultimate form right here.
Bruce for Cooks. The lead had been as big as it's been in the game, 20 points. Back to 18. Can't believe that with 5 minutes left in the third, we're wondering how close can Sydney get it by the fourth to breathe some hope into their run of good fourth quarters. A little bit of momentum going their way here. Alex Tui! Jams 2. I said a little bit of momentum. Well, there's a much more noise after that highlight play.
Well, you see it here. Arthur gets up and in the lanes. And what does Tui do, the next star? He goes up and says, I'll take 2 right here.
Well, Matty, they've got it down to 16. And keep in mind, last week it was 13 going into the fourth quarter. So it's certainly not outside the realm of possibility.
As we head into a Tangerine timeout, I can tell you that Sydney have won 11 of their last 12 fourth quarters. So how close can they get by the fourth quarter? We know that Alex Tui is a next star delivering for the Sydney Kings. There's a future star in Dash Daniels, who's already started training with Melbourne in preparation for NBL 26. Now we know brother Dyson doing great things in the NBA, the Great Barrier Reef. I wonder what Dash Daniels is going to do next year at Melbourne United.
Well, I think he'll be brought along properly, just like they did with Ariel Haporti. Melbourne United worked with the Next Stars program very well. He won't be expected to be some star of the team. He has to work his way in the Dean Vickerman system, but he has the natural talent. He's a good defender. We see what his brother's capable of doing right now in the NBA. Dash may be a little bit ahead of schedule offensively compared to where his brother was at the same age.
And that vision courtesy of NBL.com.au. The Dream Big documentary. Andrew Jansen overseeing that. A great addition to the offering on NBL.com and the NBL app, so jump on board the Dream Big documentary. Dash Daniels understandably dreaming big. The next stop is as a Melbourne United player, Dellavedova. He's dreamt big and delivered on those dreams. Championship winner at Cleveland 2016, and now Cox gets it to go. He'll go to the line for another one as well.
That's the lift he needed. Cooks has had a number of turnovers and sloppy ones. He's been able to get a little floater going. Then they've had a couple of turnovers in the and one, and you could just see great pass there by the next star.
Derek, I wonder whether Melbourne's, or Southeast Melbourne's, Josh King is watching this, saying, I've seen this show before.
Well, I'm sure he is. Shout out to Josh King, doing a terrific job, but I'm sure he's still a little bit sick from that result. And for Sydney fans, just for Xavier Cooks to feel a positive result in the game would lift their spirits slightly. Yeah. You knew that call was coming.
And straight away, Marcus Lee says, challenge that, coach.
Looking not working. You got to eat that one, Brad.
Yeah, no, they're looking down the bench and they've said no.
Little shift in energy here.
Yeah, Cook's feeling it all of a sudden. This time it jumps out, but he gets another foul call.
Well, Melbourne have got to be careful here. Yes, they've had a few calls that you could argue is at one side or the next, but you don't want to get into the fight here and then get the crowd involved. They've done an outstanding job over the first 2.5 quarters to stay locked in.
Derek Marcus Lee picks up his 4th.
Well, that's huge. Even though Rob Lowe has been doing a terrific job, if Xavier Cooks all of a sudden is starting to feel himself, Rob Lowe has zero chance of containing Xavier in that isolation play in the middle cylinder.
And you're right, that both comebacks that the Kings have had in their 3rd and 4th quarters has gone through Jalen and Xavier Cooks. And if Cooks can get that lift. But right now, for Melbourne United, these are the perfect games for Ian Clark. He's that type of guy. He's only got a few points, but you know, and he's 1 of 8 from the field. And that probably sounds crazy, but this guy, he's an outright champion and knows how to put the ball in the hole, and I'd like to see him get some more looks.
371 NBA games for that man, who gives it up for Dellavedova and his 531 NBA games. Low. Delhi again, shot clock to single figures. The important possession as Sydney hunt more momentum. They force a fumble. Bowen had to shoot, gets it away, and now the foul is called. Bruce and Lowe hit the deck. Not the foul.
Be good. You pull me to the ground, then you want to fight? No, let's leave it there. No, let's leave it there.
Sean, walk away.
Let's leave it there. Let's leave it there. Anyway,
I've got it on Bruce for the face.
Wait till it cools down and then address it.
Watching this, look, I think that's on Sean Bruce for the initial push, but then he's got pulled down. But it's a shock to see those two in it, isn't it, Darren? You could just hear the whole of Australia going, these two again.
Purple 7.
Fellas, is that a dumb foul? We were late in the shot clock. Sydney were going to come away with possession, having denied Melbourne, yet now the pendulum swifts back towards United.
Well, he probably could have gone with a pivot and a traditional box out. He went with the elbows into the chest.
You've got to be smart.
So the shot clock will be reset to 14. It's stuck on 7 for the time being.
And this has been a really long 3rd quarter, which suits the Kings.
It does.
They were down by 20. It's back to 13 the difference. Best part of 4 minutes left in the 3rd. Illy confronted by Malawatch. And now White. The pass from Illy was off the mark. And it's Sydney's ball.
Well, Brad, I talked about Brian Goorjian's ability to make adjustments on the defensive end at the half. At 3/4 time, Melbourne United been restricted to 11 points in 6.5 minutes. The adjustments are working.
Bruce thought about the shot. Malawatch. And Bruce, another turnover, number 14. 14-5, so United's ball handling very tidy. Sydney sloppy. Golding playing for the foul. Instead, it's taken by Leapa. 2-on-1. Isaiah finds Tui.
Wow.
Basket waved away.
Well, the foul's called around Clark.
His second.
Look at this great defense.
Risky, but it got away with it. He got away with it. See that one right there? I don't know why that call necessarily need to be made, Brad. Ticky-tack foul.
By the letter of the law, it's a foul, but I agree with you. Let it go. Let the flow of the game.
Sydney in the bonus. They have 1 foul still to give.
One of the other things we have to point out here is Jalen Adams has been sitting on the bench for quite some time now. That can be the positive as we look at our co-commentator, Andrew Bogut. You and Bogue seem to be best mates up there in Brisbane there, Ruck.
Yo, man, stay out of my personal life. Me and Bogue just getting work done.
Very entertaining last night. Illy below. Wow. Really unstoppable from there, but Xavier Cooks works out a way. Great D from the Kings big man, and now the finish. And it's back to single figures. Hold on, here come the Kings.
It never takes Xavier Cooks much to get himself going, and he's truly going now. The building is shaking now, Brad. It feels totally different in here.
Wow. Cooks to 13 points on 6 of 11. Isaiah Le'afa throws up an air ball.
What?
It's not been his season on the shooting front. It's an area we've touched on several times. I admire him backing himself, but boy, he'll wish he could have that over again.
And that's all well and good, Matty, but I do not admire the decision. No. If anything, put it on the deck. Attack. Melbourne United are in the bonus. Like you're shooting 2 free throws. Go after it.
Averaging 4 points per game, 25% from the field, 25% from three-point territory. He's contributing rebounds and assists, but point scoring has been hard to come by for Isaiah Le'afa. And it's off Sydney, ruled by Nico Fernandez. They want to challenge, and Brian Goorjian will.
Well, they're going to talk about it. They've reversed that call. Sydney Kings basketball.
So the referees combined to reverse it before the timeout is required. Gee, it's a big final 2 minutes to this third quarter. 68-59. The Kings down by 20. Stuck in offensive mud. Couldn't get out of each other's way. But as they have so often, they're coming to get Melbourne United. Alex Tui gets to the rack. Drops the 2. He'll go to the line. And the part owner is out of his chair. Big Bogues.
We talk about Alex Tui and how he's been able to get better and better this season. Up fake, goes middle, doesn't go up there, takes the contact, and one. The next star makes a bucket.
But it's built off the back of Xavier Cooks finding his way into this game. When he starts his penetration, all Melbourne United eyes are on him, and that leads to a poor closeout from Jack White, which Tui attacked effectively for the and one.
In the media conference after the South East Melbourne win, Xavier Cooks said, we feel we can come and get anyone in the fourth quarter, no matter where we are. Is it going to ring true again? Rob Lowe trying to stem the momentum that is building in favour of the team in purple.
Well, there's the mismatch. No one come to him.
Cooks with a smile on his face, feeding Sean Bruce. We know he's a knockdown 3, but not on that occasion.
Just keep playing through Cooks on that end, knowing you've got Adams to come.
Bruce made those 6 threes against Cairns in round 4. Dellavedova, how will that be called? No whistle. Sean Bruce came cartwheeling backwards out of the contact and is blowing up courtside.
Wow, that should have been a charge, Brad.
They've called it They have called a delay of game.
That's a charge.
Yeah.
As I called it live, it looked like a charge.
Sounds like a duck, looks like a duck.
Quacks like a duck.
It's a duck.
Final minutes of the third. We were wondering whether they could get it back to single figures. It's back to 6. Can it be a one-shot ball game to start the fourth? Is there a big triple for Sydney? Late in the third, Malawatch tries the reverse layup, the high percentage shot. And now, Melbourne.
Well, foul to give here for the Kings. United already have 5 for the quarter, so if you're the Kings, there's still shot 8 seconds difference. So
inside the game clock. Now Illy. Little drop-off pass for Lowe. Beautiful execution. And that's a nice settler for Melbourne. Tui. 2 seconds to play. Cooks gets there and gets it done. They've made the third quarter their own. They're close enough, and they say they're good enough. At 70-64, the Kings set up the grandstand finish. Xavier Cooks and co. looking for another big fourth quarter on the other side of this. There are 13 Sydney Kings suited up officially tonight. 10,328 in the crowd who are suited up and ready and willing to ride their team home, knowing full well that the Sydney Kings have won 11 of their last 12 fourth quarters. Look at those stats. 25-17. If they do that again, they'll win the game, Derek.
Well, they're trending in that way. They held Melbourne United to only 13 points in that quarter. Limited Melbourne United to only one offensive rebound. Significant improvement. That's why they're back in this game.
Well, they're a very good fourth quarter team, Melbourne. They've won 10 of their 22 fourth quarters at the moment as Alex Tui takes a three, but it's attention to detail for both teams.
At 68-48, Melbourne had their biggest lead of the game. After that, Sydney peeled off a 16-2 run. 16-2 to get it back to 6, heading down the stretch or into the fourth. And now Shaili draws the foul. Can't get the score, so he'll go to the line for the two.
Here we go, to the shot.
And good Sydney Kings offense in that third quarter helped establish their defense, allowed them to set it up in the half court. And that's going to be a key here. They must continue to execute offensively. Jalen Adams is back in the game, so probably a lot of high pick and roll with Adams.
Last time these teams met, this man at the stripe, Shaili, had 18 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Needs this for 18 today and gets it. Joe Healy, over to you.
We have a game on our hands, guys, and the crowd here at Kudos are absolutely loving it. Derek, you told me off camera at halftime that you weren't sure the Kings were going to be able to make this a comeback. Have you changed your tune?
Well, I always felt that Brian Gorgia would make the adjustment. As I mentioned, he's the master at doing that. It was just a matter of whether or not the players could pull it off, and they've held up their end of the bargain. And again, when they do that, this crowd gets into it, and the game takes on a whole different feel.
Xavier Cooks doing some good work to torment Illy there. Couldn't win possession, but now there's a whistle because they need to
lost the ball.
It's a tough predicament for Gorge here. Arthur's been doing a fabulous job on the defensive end, but offensively it's two shots that have been very wild, and there's that juggle of what do you do, but we know Gorge loves, he's on the defense, so he's staying with his man at the moment and saying, I've got faith in you.
And if I'm Dean Vickerman, I'm telling my guard, Shea Illy, Matthew Dellavedova, push the ball when we get it, mades or misses. Let's see if the Kings can defend effectively against early offense.
Rob Lowe, off the glass, if you don't mind. Lowe goes to 15 points for the game. 7 of 13, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Adams has his shot jump out. White hard into Alex Tui, and it goes. He's off to the line.
And that's what I mentioned, Brad. Hard push by Shea Illy. The Kings are in retreat, can never get their chest square to the basketball. And White, strong.
So Tui picks up his third. Xavier Cooks, Jalen Adams also nursing 3. All 3 of them on the floor with the most fouls for the Sydney Kings. Marcus Lee sitting with 4 for Melbourne. Lead their foul count. So he can't add the extra, and the quick outlet for Quatch. Malawatch, and now Tui went for the dunk, left it short, and Melbourne come away with it. Oh, costly for Sydney. Jack White shows the youngster Tui how it's done.
Well, this has been clinical. The first couple of minutes here by Melbourne, absolutely clinical. Kings on a run. It's a tough shot. It is a tough shot, but for Melbourne United, keep pushing it. Like Derek was saying, they look good when they get the ball out in the open and push.
This man with 19 points, 4 rebounds. So may not get another double-double tonight, but the point scoring is impressive. Adams needs to be big in the fourth quarter, leaves that shot short. And Melbourne back out by 12. Dellavedova off the glass now. And Brian Goorjian says timeout. The first 3 minutes have not gone the way the Sydney coach wanted. They find themselves down by 14 again. And the coach in game 850 in the NBL needs a chat.
Well, it's the attention to detail. It was very poor. Jalen Adams misses the shot and just strolls back down. And what does Dellavedova do? Runs hard without the ball. Then he gets it and lays it in. As I said, Melbourne United just under 3 minutes here in this quarter. Absolutely clinical.
Jalen Adams spent so much time on the bench in the third quarter. It looks like he's just struggling a bit to find touch. He's a minus 26 in 22 minutes of play. He'll need to turn that around quickly because Xavier Cooks has been carrying the load in this second half.
So on the floor for Sydney, Adams, Cooks, Noy, Malawatch and Tui. Lowe, Dellavedova, Krebs, White and Illy. Important minutes for Dean Vickerman's men. They've worked so hard. Sydney threw down a challenge to start the fourth. And right now it's United back out by 14.
Right here in the fourth quarter. Man, you got any Melbourne fans here?
Well, Derek, we speak a lot about the Kings, and Paul Quoll was their big marquee signing in the off-season, one of the big signings that they wanted. And I feel defensively, and you look here at the three-point leaders, and well, that man just keeps producing. I'm wondering, do they need to get more out of him offensively?
Well, they certainly do, but it's going to take some time, and I'm not sure we're going to see it even this season, Brad. He's somebody who you would have expected, despite his injury, to be a very effective three-point shooter, but it hasn't happened.
It's been a game of runs as Cooks forces the foul on Marcus Lee, who'll be out of the game. The big fella picks up foul number 5. So the referee's informed Marcus of that now, and he'll turn around and take a seat, but it has been a game of runs. Sydney made that 16-2 run to finish the third. To start the fourth, it's Melbourne on a 10-2 run.
Well, it's an interesting foul. Rob Lowe is obviously the person you'd think would be replaced, and he is standing up, but he's logged a lot of minutes so far and only just came off. He's had 25 minutes, and there's another, let's say, 7 to go, so that's a lot of minutes, and there were times there where Xavier Cooks did a really good job in the open court. Losing Lee right now is big, but can they capitalise on it, the Sydney Kings?
Well, in this game, Lee has been a -5 compared to Rob Lowe's +19.
So in other words, that's good that he's sitting and you...
I think in this game, I'll go with Lowe, considering he's also got 15 points, 5 boards, and 4 assists. Lowe's playing really good basketball tonight.
Who like to ignore the plus-minus will say, well, Marcus did give them some real punch off the bench in the first quarter and part of that explosive performance in the first half by Melbourne. But it's Rob Lowe out there as a result of Lee fouling out Shea. Ely lets rip with a 3. It rebounds kindly for Le'Arthur. Le'Arthur with his 5th rebound of the game. Navnoy. And we'll go the other way. Offensive foul called on Sydney. Paul Quayle is urging Gorgon to challenge that, but there's no response from the veteran coach.
Good defense. Noy feeling the pressure to find scoring opportunities. Kings only 4 points in 4 minutes of play in this quarter.
80-68. Still a long way to go in this game. How many more runs does Sydney have in them? Golding elevates, offload for Dellavedova, and the 2 veterans combine brilliantly.
Nice pass by Chris Golding, Brad.
Beautiful. Sean Bruce, mid-range jumper, bottom of the net.
Now they need some perimeter shooting. Sean Bruce, as we've got a little something going on with Cooks and Dellavedova. But Sean Bruce is going to have opportunities to shoot the basketball. He needs to go ahead, step up, shoot the ball, and live with the consequences.
All sorted between Delhi and Zave.
I just look at this game and I think Melbourne feel to me that it's 20, 25 points up, but it's 12. The Kings just keep hitting a couple of shots to hang in there, but Melbourne have been amazing. I thought they've come with a great game plan tonight, and I do agree with you, Gorge has changed as much as he can, but one thing Chris Pongrass mentioned to us earlier, out of the 9 losses they've had, 5 of them are from Illawarra and Melbourne, and they're the 2 teams that are above them, so this is a big game mentally for the Sydney Kings as well.
Well, a real random stat, Melbourne have won their last 14 Thursday games. Shooting for 15 on Thursday. Brad Derrick told me he hated Thursday. He preferred to go Thursday night shopping. Hated hoops on a Thursday.
I wonder where you found that stat. It's gold.
Dellavedova says we want 15 in a row on our lucky day. Cooks had to do plenty of work and had it roll away from the target. So a comfortable break again, held by Melbourne. Ian Clark takes his time. Shot clock to 5. Clark turns and shoots, and it's swatted away by Xavier Cooks. Blue ball.
In the last couple of minutes, starting to notice some frustration creeping into the Sydney Kings psyche. They've got to stay locked in. There's plenty of time. 14 is the deficit. Good 2 or 3 minute run, a 10-2 run. Get you back in this one.
Chris Golding gets a round of applause for the crowd. A little smile on Chris's face. Not often. I think that was an air ball, Brad. You had a better look than I. Did it brush the rim or?
It didn't look like it from this angle. but I would never say that against Chris because it's a shock if it doesn't.
We saw a moment ago the league's leading Mitsubishi three-shooter, Tyler Harvey chasing. He'll get another crack on Saturday night against New Zealand in Wollongong. Quatnoy for the Kings.
It's a basket, but it's clunky, Derek. Everything they look like, there's been some little turnovers where you're not expecting it, but they're coming off on balls and looking like someone's meant to be in a spot that they're not.
Illy pulls up, knocks down the three, and Illy goes to 20 points for the game.
He's been so tough. Only 8 shot attempts from the upper. Strikes back on the other end. Draws the foul.
So Shea Illy has his season high. His top 2 scores, 20 tonight and 18 in round 10, both against the Kings. He's made 3 shy of his career high from 2018. Shea Illy has come to Sydney ready to play. At the free throw line, 86-75, but time is running out for the Kings. And this man is feeling it for United. He's wearing a few bumps and bruises as well. His hand, now his shoulder. He changes direction on Bruce, finds the backboard. Sydney racing down court. Sean Bruce couldn't be caught. And he tries to pump up the crowd and his team.
Well, they're giving it their all, that's for sure. Melbourne, just a couple little plays, but you look at this. Had him on his hip the whole time, put his team on his back, and Sean Bruce says, I'll make the layup, and come with me, boys. He lifts them. He's letting the crowd know we're in this game.
It looks like an easy shot. It looks like a gimme layup, but at that speed, I suspect it's not as easy as it looks.
Not at all.
Listen, X, you just hit that elbow, an easy entry, elbow, and come to it. And it's catch, it's pick and roll, it's that. Now, we've got 3 shooters, so look, let's go. This, that spread. When we get this game, there, look, don't go zoom, go cut, handoff. Cut handoff or over handoff. Don't go zoom. Hey, there's plenty of time. Let's go.
Final words, there's plenty of time. 3 minutes 53. They've got to close this 9-point gap.
Well, Jalen Adams came out of the game about a minute or 2 ago. So they're going with the team that did a pretty good job in the 3rd quarter to get this back in.
Jalen Adams not scoring in the 4th quarter. He's still on 7 points. Illy leaves points out there. So missed the 4th quarter as he's become known. Jalen Adams not spotted in the 4th. It's all Xavier Cooks for the time being.
Anytime after a miss, Cooks gets the ball in transition, the Kings need to empty out the side and just sell out on Xavier Cooks making a play against Rob Lowe.
Illy had to scramble to keep the ball in court. Golding, shot clock at 3. Golding puts it up, no foul, and Jack White can't finish. Sydney's ball.
Kings very lucky there. Zaid Cooks takes his eyes off the basketball while it's in flight. White misses a bunny.
Who are you putting the heat on from Sydney from here, Brad? 3 minutes to play. Who's their hero late?
Oh, this man here with Quatnoy. They're the 2 that have got to look to score, but they can't stop this guy at the moment.
Cooks looking for Noy, and Noy gets it back just. Winning that battle with White. And Noy fighting again. They come away empty.
Great rebound. No finish, and Shea Illy's got a wet basketball.
Paul Quall had a great look. Yeah. His 2nd 3 of the night. He's none of 3 in that regard. None of 2, in fact.
Great defence here by Leartha.
Golding was optimistic. He missed. Noy, the 3 ball. He catches the rim and Lowe catches possession. It's wild by United. And Jack White all alone can't finish.
We've got a ball game here. Everyone in this arena is holding their breath.
So many empty possessions by Sydney and another one. And now there's going to be a foul called on Sean Bruce.
They've had good looks at it, but I wouldn't have minded that ball getting into Xavier Cooks' hands at some point over the past 2 or 3 possessions.
Sydney ruining 3, 4 empty possessions despite getting good looks in most of them.
They have, and you can say Melbourne as well. I mean, that Jack White one, I don't mind that 3, but at that time and possession, do you look to go the 2-on-1 and not just take the 3? So many times they're coach killers. You drop it, they're great.
So Melbourne's form away from John Cain Arena on show again. As I mentioned, they're 6-2 away from their home, losing only in Tassie and most recently Adelaide. White runs into Quatnoy, but finishes nevertheless.
Good rotation defensively, but an outstanding finish from Jack White.
He goes to 21 points, equal high in the game with Xavier Cooks.
Well, Jack White, in a couple of the games, Melbourne have beaten Sydney as a timeout for Sydney Kings here.
With
He's
possession.
been big.
With possession.
Yeah, they'll run a play here, but Jack White has been big at times for Melbourne United, especially against the Sydney Kings. Hit a couple of big 3s the last time. But what is interesting is Jalen Adams, Cam Oliver, we haven't seen them really at all in this second half. We haven't seen Cam Oliver at all, but Jalen Adams missed a 4th quarter, Derek. I don't know if there's an injury. I'm not sure if there's something more in it, but he has hardly played this second half.
Well, there was nothing noticeable going on the way he was moving when he came back into this game in the 4th quarter. He is a team-leading -26 in this game. And I just feel Brian Goorjian feels tonight's not the night for Jalen Adams and has decided to go with the backups.
Cam Oliver in his 2 games previously against Melbourne this season, 39 points combined. Jalen Adams 23, yet tonight they've combined for only 10. Adams with 7, Oliver for 3, so your 2 imports having a bit part role to play on the scoreboard and leaving it to the likes of Xavier Cooks with 21, Quatnoy 16, Alex Tui 10. I look up and see at 9 the difference and thinking, what if we got more out of Adams and Oliver? Whereas the 5 on the floor for Melbourne right now all have double figures.
Yeah. I mean, Sydney have done a good job defensively in the second half, but they haven't been able to generate enough good offense to bite into this lead.
So Jack White has another double as Noy gets the rebound, can't get the roll. Jack White, 21 points, 10 rebounds. His 11th double-double to go level with Xavier Cooks, who needs 1 more board to go back ahead of Jack with 12.
Well, they've had some sitters just pull out there for the Sydney Kings. And Melbourne will do what they do real well, take the clock right down, get a late look.
Chris Golding from a long way out with the miss, but we're inside the final minute. There's a foul there on Shayili.
No, that was in there. 51, blocking foul. There's no need for that here.
Shaylee and Sean Bruce were in a bumping contest all the way down the floor.
You're exaggerating that one.
Regular foul.
Regular foul.
He's checked in like any normal.
Sydney cursing the first quarter where they let Melbourne get away 32-16. And now the Kings have been kept to only 15 in the final quarter as well. Cooks, Fulqual, buries 3. 82, 32 seconds left, and it's purple ball. Hang on to your hats.
Good effort there.
Well, Kings have no timeouts. Melbourne have one left.
And you can still get a quick 2, Brad.
Yep.
If
there's still plenty of time.
Yeah,
is what you're
but
saying,
if a nice 3 presents, go for it. But be willing to take a quick 2, jump into some type of press. It may force a timeout from Dean Vickers.
We're good. Thank you.
Well, when they look here, Xavier Cooks may go and get Quatnoy, but then flash to the hoop, like you're saying.
Is it Quatnoy letting loose with a 3? Here he is.
Whoa.
Yes, he does. And he's fouled, shooting the 3. He'll go to the line. The clock stops. If Kawat makes all 3, it will be a one-shot game with 25 seconds left. Never give up on the NBL.
It's a great result, Brad. The clock stops. You've got a good free throw shooter going to the line to potentially make it a one-possession game. Xavier Cooks was really smart on that inbounds catch. Got it to a guy that he knew could make a play.
All right, Derek, if you're the Sydney Kings, and let's assume they make the 3 here, you would go for the 8 seconds backcourt. That's the first thing you want to be able to do. Do you then foul? Because there's only 2 seconds difference.
Well, I'm trying to lengthen the game at this point, so I'm probably going for 1 trap. And if you don't steal out of that trap, go and commit a foul. That would be probably around the 17 to 18 second mark.
Well, you think if he makes this, Melbourne should probably take that timeout and advance it.
Quatnoy, an 84% free throw shooter this year. Derek, you were spot on with that impressive free throw percentage. And he makes all 3 to make it 88-85.
No timeout called by Vickerman.
He saved it. So you want to go for the 8 seconds here. Do whatever you can.
They got a chance.
Golding gives it to Illy. Illy is trapped in his own half, and Golding goes long range. It's taken by Liafa. It's Bruce. 16 seconds left. A 3 to lock us up at Kudos Bank Arena. Sean Bruce tried to bank 3. Liafa gets it back. The 20. Drops the tray. You could not believe that storyline. A man shooting the 3 ball at 25% this season has hit a prayer 3 to lock us up with 5 seconds left. Who writes these scripts?
They're firstly checking to see if it's a 3. That's the first thing to make sure his foot's there. Melbourne have called timeouts.
And Melbourne United with all types of problems in the backcourt. We see Liafa. We don't get a good look at it right
that
there.
Left foot, if anything, but I think it was behind.
Seeking another angle. And, oh my, that looks... That is close. Again, obstructed there. We don't get a clean look at the left toes of Isaiah Liafa.
Could you overturn it on the vision you've seen here, Derek?
I don't see how you can, unless there's another angle that we're not being granted here, but right there, I think it would have to stand based on that evidence, Matty.
That angle looked like he may have tickled the line. The other angle looks like, no, he's significantly short of the line.
The whole crowd is standing up here with their hands in the air, calling for the 3.
The crowd will tell you the decision momentarily.
What
Are we
drama.
locked up with 5.2 seconds to play?
And it's a 3!
And it's a 3! Isaiah Liafa, who couldn't buy a 3 for most of the season, has come up with the most remarkable shot under pressure late to Kudos Bank Arena.
The Sydney Kings' effort on the offensive glass, the desperation to track down that basketball, and Liafa, patient against Shea Illy's defensive pressure, is able to knock down that 3.
Woo! 5.5 seconds put on the clock. We're inside the final 2 minutes, so we can't listen to the timeouts. Isaiah Le'afa, funnily enough, spent some time while the Kings were going through their warm-up taking photos of his teammates. You'll wonder whether someone got the photo of him right there, and I know the answer, absolutely. Get a copy, Isaiah.
Well, now the key is, what do you do if you're Melbourne, right? You've got 5 seconds. The key is, don't turn it over, don't have a 5-second call, and just get the last look of the game. The worst case scenario for Melbourne is you want to go into the overtime. That's the worst case scenario. The best case is obviously you think it's going to be Golding. You think it could be Jack White at the rim.
And any foul committed by Sydney will send Melbourne United to the free throw line. I'm looking at Shea Ili or Dellavedova, who is exceptional in these circumstances.
A big 5.5 seconds for both of these clubs. A heavyweight battle to open round 16.
Oh, wow.
Jack White gets loose. Jack White puts Melbourne back in front. Sean Bruce, the mid-court prayer. Melbourne win on the back of Jack White. They keep their cool. They deliver White. And a double-double, including 2 late, gives Jack White 23 points and the winner.
A fantastic sidelines, out of bounds play. They go to one of their most prized concepts, the back screen that frees up Jack White at the hoop. What a fantastic game of basketball. Melbourne United get it in the end, Brad.
Well, I'm just watching Shea Ili, and Sean Bruce certainly had some words afterwards and not happy. But that is unbelievable basketball. That was drawn to a tee. Got it into Delhi down low, and great flash by White.
Just keep your eyes on Sean Bruce. He is a heated human, you're right. He and Shea Ili mid-court, shaking hands but exchanging words. We need to concentrate on Jack White. 23 points, 10 of 17 and 10 rebounds. His 11th double-double of the year. Xavier Cooks not far behind in scoring, 21 points, also 10 boards, his 12th double-double. So the big man matchup we highlighted pre-game certainly delivered. This contest certainly delivered. Melbourne stay second, Sydney go to 4th, Perth will wake up tomorrow in 3rd as we look at it on the Amy replay.
And a great play to get that ball to Matthew Dellavedova. Anytime the ball gets down on that baseline, it opens up so many passing possibilities. And Dellavedova, one of the best passes in the competition, delivers the ultimate assist, the game-winning assist.
8 assists for Matty Dellavedova to go with his 11 points. But Jack White, Joe, what a play late.
Yeah, absolutely, Matty. The back cut there to seal it. Jack, Foot Locker player of the game, obviously made it tough for yourselves. You got the win. What are the emotions you're feeling right now?
I mean, we're just relieved. Obviously, we had a bit of a lead heading into the second half especially, and we knew they were going to come out and play some great basketball and fight to get back, and they did exactly that. They made some plays down the stretch, but you know, you'd rather win and take a lesson from a game like that. There's obviously plenty to learn from that game still for us, and plenty we can get better at, but you know, fortunate to come out of it with a win and you know, not walk away with another loss.
How important is this win, just given the fact that you're on the road for a stretch and the importance of finishing one of those top 2 places?
Yeah, well, we knew this game was going to be a battle. There's plenty of meaning behind it for that second spot. Obviously, being top 2 and finishing in that sort of position is big time coming into finals, and that's somewhere where we want to be. You know, just understanding that, you know, we got them twice on our home floor, and that we knew that they were going to come out and try and make a statement on theirs, and they've been playing some great basketball lately and trying to find their feet and obviously climbing the ladder as well. So we knew it was just going to be a big time playoff intensity-like game, and fortunate the boys showed up and we were able to come out a really good win.
Big time win, highly entertaining. Go and enjoy this one. Congrats.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Congratulations, Jack White. Melbourne go 14-9. Last season's regular season champions are right there again. 7-2 away from John Cain Arena. They are taking their form on the road, and they'll need to for a few more games yet. Sydney slide to 13-10, 5-5 at home. We're back to Kudos Bank Arena to wrap it up right after this.